to secure to secure the bag or to fumble the bag.
And this is a smack in the face for someone who took a gamble.
People trusted him.
But our people are thirsty. Our people are hungry for knowledge.
He was the viral guy in Atlanta, spitting finance knowledge to anybody who listened on the street corner. But now Jay Morrison is in hot water.
I invested 40.
Starts from humble beginnings, is now successful businessman, is unlike the typical rags to riches story. He encourages many bumps in the road. This is written by him himself. Basically, it sounds like. Raised in a single by parent, we get it. Grew up in tumultuous environments, surrounded by blah, blah, blah. You already know. Despite the rough upbringing, then went to jail, came home, started scamming you niggas. That's basically what they saying. Anyway, Flacco's talking about this nigga right now. They question him about stealing the money. The alleged money, because I don't know. Y'all see, I don't know. Fake guru panics after being confronted.
YouTube's biggest scammer is back with more lies and deception. And at this point, bro, you kind of have to blame the people who are platforming him. Obviously, I'm talking about Jay Morrison because the title of biggest scammer would be fitting for no other than Jay Morrison. Don't applaud scammers on this channel, but you kind of got to applaud Jay Morrison to come from where he come from and to be able to finesse multiple millions, 10 plus millions of dollars. It's like, that's something that, like, that's unfathomable.
Not talk.
But before Jay Morrison could hit his big lick, Jay Morrison hit a couple of other like smaller licks that's still pretty impressive. Like, for example, here's one of Jay Morrison's legendary scam. Jay Morrison was able to get in connection with an NFL player. At the time, the NFL player, Muhammad Wilkerson, was the highest paid defensive end in the NFL. Jay Morrison somehow managed to befriend this dude and got him to invest in Jay Morrison's uniform company. He gave Jay Morrison about $250,000, man. All right, Jay Morrison ran.
No, not nice. That's not what I'm saying. I was just anyway.
Off with the $250,000, and that was the story at the time. Who came out and he spoke on how Jay Morrison was able to rope him in to being a mentee. This is a dude from the streets, was selling drugs, was trying to legitimize his money. So he gave Jay Morrison $50,000 for a real estate deal. Jay Morrison told him, "Hey, you know, I'm gonna buy houses. You are also gonna come in as an equal partner on the deals I do. Your name is gonna be on the paperwork." Man, Jay Morrison took that man's money. He started to inquire about the houses and the projects. You know, Jay Morrison kind of gave him the runaround when he started to see paperwork for the quote unquote house, you know, that Jay Morrison was purchasing with the money.
So he was robbing the robbers. He was robbing the robbers. That could be lucrative if you come off like you are legitimate and you know the robbers. It could be lucrative. It could also be very, very, very dangerous.
Paperwork for the quote unquote house, you know, that Jay Morrison was purchasing with the money. His name was nowhere on the paperwork. He starts to get suspicious. He asks for his money back. Jay Morrison goes to him. So there's countless of stories like this, bro. That's $300,000
allegedly
from just two people, all right? And there's countless of stories. But Jay Morrison's biggest lick was probably this Tulsa Real Estate Fund, where Jay Morrison raised more than $10 million.
In 2018, the Tulsa Real Estate Fund.
That's the one I was talking about, y'all, where they said he was going, you know, like Tulsa, Oklahoma, like Black Wall Street. Like he felt like he was going to bring, he invoked the spirit of Black Wall Street. You know, because, you know, Black people, we like a good feeling. So he evoked that spirit, that Black Wall Street spirit. He played Rosewood for everybody. He watched Ving Rhames do that thing when he was on the rope with his neck. Scrap it. He was like, we got to get this nigga some money.
The Tulsa Real Estate Fund. It's regulated by the government, the SEC, allowing qualified people to crowdfund with others with the goal of investing and owning real estate. 15,000 people joined the movement, but 6 years later, that $11.7 million that they've raised has nearly dried up, and many of the investors are pointing their finger at one person.
And as a fellow real estate developer, I took a liking to what he was talking about.
And Julian Gordon says it seemed that Jay Morrison had it all figured. He called it the Tulsa Real Estate Fund in honor of what was known as the Black Wall Street in Tulsa, Oklahoma back in the early 1900s.
Told y'all. They ain't play Rosewood, but they played something. They played something to bring that slavey. I'm telling you, there's no way in the world that his seminar, whatever he gave to get people to invest in this, it definitely was in black and white, and people was humming at the beginning of it. I guarantee it. It's a particular tune. It's a particular note or pitch in a nigga's soul that could pull that money out his pocket. I'm telling you, they do it at church, and he tweaked into that for the real estate fund.
The Tulsa Real Estate Fund was a unique concept and turned out to be the largest black-owned real estate crowdfunding.
Look at this. What I sold you.
Everybody had to put in at least $500.
Look, they going to vote. Look at this. Damn. I'm gonna get some of that freedom. Oh, Lordy, Lordy, Lord. Did he have a pastor? If he had a pastor, that would have just set it off, nigga.
Black-owned real estate crowdfund. Everybody had to put in at least $500. Gordon, a real estate investor himself, he put in $40,000, the most of anyone.
I was a friend at this time, and I sat in the Legacy Center in his corner office, and I told him straight up that your name has a lot of mud in the streets, but you have 15,000 people who are your biggest fans and believe in you, who he has since then alienated and really cut us off in many ways.
But Gordon says that,
see, but that's dumb of you though, son. If you knew his name was mud, you knew it already. You was like, look at all these people. Come on, man. You should have known. You should have known. You about to be part of the big one. But then again, being an investor, part of it is being a risk taker. And I don't think he did a proper risk assessment on who this guy is. I researched him for like 3 minutes before the show, and I wouldn't have gave him no money. I'm just saying.
he still noticed that the math wasn't mathing. That $11.7 million initially raised was being swallowed up, losing millions year over year, according to these SEC filings, with no recorded profits. And at the same time, the fund manager, Jay Morrison, was allegedly paying himself in management fees.
He's eaten over $1 million, almost probably $2 million by now in management fees. He's paid his wife through the organization. She used the facilities without probably any payment. She hosted her podcast there. She hosted her greenlit ATL events there. And I guarantee that there's no transactions of her paying us, the investors or the entity, for the usage of that space.
Eventually.
So what was giving him legitimacy that people, although he had these, was it just the internet? Did he just talk good on the internet? Did he mix up well with the other podcasters? Because I saw him on what they used to call itself, Earn Your Leisure. I think they changed their name. But I remember seeing him on their podcast, and I didn't watch the episode. Like I was somewhat ignorant to him because you just simply can't watch them all. But that put smut on the other person's name. You know, that makes $1 million worth. I mean, that makes not million. What's it just called? Earn Your Leisure, or whatever their current name is. It puts smut on their name. Like, oh, you a Jay Morrison supporter. Once again, these are all allegations. We don't know if Jay Morrison is truly in the wrong. I don't know. I'm just saying. I'm just giving you my thought process as I watch this.
It came crashing down. They had to sell the building. Everybody lost money but Jay Morrison, right? Like, Jay Morrison is the only person who made out with millions of dollars in this situation. Now, Jay Morrison was forced into isolation. Everybody on the internet kind of, like treated him like a pariah.
He didn't care. He got the big check. He don't care at all.
Now, there are certain details about this particular fund that I'm not really too keen in diving into details about. For example, people were calling out certain purchases Jay Morrison made for himself with the funds. There were certain employees coming out at the time claiming that Jay Morrison was paying them with the Tulsa Real Estate Fund, even though the Tulsa Real Estate Fund is separate from Jay Morrison's other businesses. So, for example, if it's a fund that investors are receiving money from, but you are siphoning money from this and putting it into this business, however, the investors aren't getting paid from this business, then that's essentially fraud, right? So Jay Morrison was doing a bunch of this, misappropriated all the money, and now everybody lost money, okay?
Is he in legal jeopardy?
But him. $11+ million down the drain. So Jay Morrison decided he was going to come out of isolation today and do an interview, right, with a guy from Social Proof. And this entire interview was just Jay Morrison making excuses and blaming.
I wonder if he in trouble with the law. Because that seems well, I ain't lock him up. There's so many tricky things you could do with money before they get you. But when they get you, you still enough. And you don't cut in Uncle Sam. They'll come get you. They'll come get you. But they'll let you do a whole lot of tricks before then. And it's weird the deals they'll make. They'll be like, oh, okay, just give me most of the money back. Do a little bit of time in jail. You can come home, still be rich. Unless you Bernie Madoff them. I don't know if y'all know about him. He went crazy. They was like, nigga, you went too far. You dug too deep in the cookie jar.
Everybody else but himself.
So we want to be the rich uncle for the community that you could call, like, hey, I got a good idea.
I don't trust his eyes. I don't trust his general look of a nigga. He got that, yeah, come on now. He got that, I'm trying to convince you face. I don't trust his general eyes.
Today and do an interview, right, with a guy from Social Proof. And this entire interview was just Jay Morrison making excuses and blaming everybody else but himself.
So we want to be the rich uncle for the community that you could call, like, hey, I got a good idea. Yeah. Let's invest, right?
But yet you're the only person who got rich off the fund.
And so it was a $50 million, the business plan was based on a $50 million raise. And we were on, in my opinion, we were on track for that. I mean, raising several million your first week. Mm-hmm. Okay, we rolling. Yeah. And then that first week though, and I was planning for opposition. I thought it would be like white nationalist or like the other side or something like that. People are opposed to black people unifying around economics. Yeah. And I
don't work like that. And that's the boogeyman. He gave y'all a boogeyman. He gave y'all a hum and a boogeyman. What? If he mentioned that, you know he brought that up. After they finished humming and the preacher, they tried to stop us. They can't stop us. And it's like, yeah, they did try to stop us. That was a long time ago. They know. They know. They didn't think y'all was going to try again. Just shut up and do it. Without all the humming and the hawing. Had it been an actual thing. Had it been an actual thing with smart, strong investors that were committed to the community and all that, what a great opportunity that might have been. Marketed towards us. What a great opportunity. You know what I mean? But come on, man. When one person sees opportunity, somebody else sees a victim.
And prepared for the onslaught of bloggers and podcasts and just naysayers and anti-Treff movement that started like a week after we launched.
This man got some nerves, yo. He's about to complain that black folks only gave him $11 million and not the full 50. So that's why the fund failed, sir.
And that kicked up so much that our month 6, which was January 2019, month 6, the SEC literally knocked on our door in Sandy Springs. Mm-hmm. And then the FBI knocked on our door in Sandy Springs. The SEC came to our office in Lenox Road in Buckhead. Mm-hmm. And so a dual investigation started because of all it's a Ponzi scheme, this is a fraud, this is this noise.
This is before slander though.
Right, that's one of the what they call now, the Earn Your Leisure guys. I'm not up on what they're doing currently. I haven't watched them in a while.
No, the slander started week 1, bro.
Dang.
Yeah. Tone Talks, Yvette Carnell, who ended up being the person that started the False Prophets page. It was like a whole group of them who were just like, and most of them were like the ADOS community, who were like about reparations. Mm-hmm. And they just had some kind of like beef with me.
Because you was cutting in on the grift. If anybody gonna do the Tulsa, Oklahoma, it should be Tariq Nasheed with the FBA community. And here you come with your sneaky eyes nodding and shit. Yeah, white man, right? Yeah. They like, hey, wait a minute.
This man came out of isolation after 4 years for this. This man has learned zero, nothing at all. Presenting them having a problem with you scamming black folks as they had a problem with me for no reason. I don't know why. They were picking on you. No, they weren't picking on you. They were calling out the fund for being a scam. They were calling out the fund for being misproperly ran. They were saying this fund was going to make nobody money but Jay Morrison, and they were ultimately correct in their assessment. So history tells us they weren't just bullying you or picking on you. They were being whistleblowers to a really, 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 really big problem, that came to be true. Now, Jay Morrison will tell you, no, they made the problem, come to fruition, right? We didn't have a problem before them.
And then the guy who does one of the Watch Your Money podcast, before he had that podcast, he was offended by, I think I provoked him on the Shade Room. I had posted a video on the Shade Room of me teaching like some tax strategies to Kerry Hilson and B. Simone, some of our friends. And he was in the comments on Shade Room before he ever had a brand. And like, hey, I'm an accountant, you shouldn't be saying that. And I said something probably slick back, just kind of my, my arrogance and kind of whatever. And after that, he was just locked in. And so he had some influence with the NFLPA. I think one was his frat brother or a college mate. So he had the NFLPA send out a warning letter to the whole entire NFLPA of all current and retired players, saying warning about our fund. This is in the first month. So I'm getting to the biggest mistake.
For sure.
So we got a national credible organization like the NFLPA warning all. Mind you, we had like several NFL players in our fund. Rest in peace to Marius Thomas, my brother, like literally like one of my brothers.
I'm sure you scamming Mo Wilkerson out of $250,000 had zero factor in the NFL warning their NFL players not to invest in a Tulsa Real Estate Fund.
NFL Hall of
Right. They're just being mean to you. That had nothing to do with it. They like, he's already bit one of y'all. Don't talk to him.
Famer. He was in our fund.
How
and
does he
others.
not get locked?
And
how is he not in jail for this? It's got to be some sort of technicality. Yo, if y'all like this video, I'll do a deeper dive and look into whether or not he was prosecuted and how and why and how he escaped prosecution and clear scams allegedly. Apparently, that things that seem to be a clear scam. I don't know.
That was a tarnish. And then all the online noise. And then the SEC and the FBI started investigating us in month 6 of our company starting. So imagine you start a new company, you're excited about it, you pumped up. To your point, you tell your staff and your team, everybody put in $2,000, we're going to go do this, build this studio out. And imagine the 6th month of you doing so, the FBI come investigate you and your company and whatever other governing agency come investigate your company. So not just the legal cost, which is about $500,000 to defend that, an 18-month investigation, and what it did to my team, because they got all my team laptops, iPads, phones, they're screening everybody's stuff with these devices. And so my team has to go home, my staff has to go home to their families and explain why they're under investigation. So to the point of what the biggest mistake was, when that happened, and we were raising about $1 million a month at that time, it dwindled down to $100,000 a month. It was too strong of a current to continue to raise capital upstream against slander,
Take notice of how he continues to point out that what people were saying at the time was defamation, but everything they said came true. People were saying this fund was a scam and it wouldn't make anybody money but Jay Morrison, and that came true, right? The fund didn't make any investors money. Investors lost all their money. So what exactly was the defamation? He will say, yo, they pushed that narrative, right? They're the reason why the fund ain't make no money, because they pushed the narrative that it was a scam and scared everybody away. Jay Morrison is about to try to get us to feel sorry for him, right? Because he went from raising a couple $1 million in the first couple weeks to only doing $100,000 a month and ultimately raising $11+ million. Can you imagine somebody who got a free $100K every month, a free $100,000 every month, trying to make us fam?
He got bills. He got to run an office that he don't produce nothing out of but lies.
You had enough money to do what it do. You were bad at your job.
Allegedly. I don't know. That is just going by the information I've gathered. And it's not a ton. Let me know if y'all interested in this, and I'll go dig into this because this sounds crazy.
You were poor at it. And some might even say you were damn near unethical and scammy with it, right? Because paying employees with the Tulsa fund from your business, allegedly, like, it's crazy. You buying certain properties in your name when it's the Tulsa is crazy. You paying yourself up for almost $2 million out of $11 million fund is crazy.
We're a company that's based on equity, having capital to loan out capital or to give capital infusions or partnerships. When you can't raise capital as a company where your business model is based on deploying capital, it's a struggling business model at that point.
So why you don't give it back? Why you didn't give it back? Why didn't you make any smart investments with all this capital you had? Or you didn't have enough? You didn't have enough. You didn't have enough to really to make those, to hedge those big bets. There's gonna be a hedge fund managed by this 3-time felon ass nigga, allegedly. I don't know how many felonies he got. I don't know nothing about this thing. Allegedly.
And so my biggest mistake was not recognizing that sooner, understanding how severe those investigations were and just that whole climate was. And if somebody else were, if I was coaching somebody now, was starting a fund, and their fund got under investigation in 6 months, and it was an online army opposing their efforts to raise capital from online, I'd be like, shut it down. Like, tell your investors, hey, like, the climate's too rough. We need to wait till this investigation settle, find out what's going on.
All right, that's cool, but what about that money I gave you? Yeah, that's too much. We just need to settle, just shut it down, just settle down. But yeah, okay, yeah, but I want my money to settle down. Don't settle that shit, nigga.
And then we'll maybe reconvene. But my biggest mistake at that is, other mistakes I'll lay them all out.
Yeah, for sure.
But that was one of the biggest ones early, was like, I tried to bully my way through it.
Right.
Like, I'm gonna do it anyway. Like, I hear y'all hating, it's cool, watch, I'm gonna show you. And and mind you, I was worried about the investigations, not because I did anything wrong, but I'm a black man with a fund called Tulsa Real Estate Fund. Right. It's named Tulsa as a code word, Black Wall Street.
Yeah.
I don't live in Tulsa. I've been to Tulsa 3 times.
Yeah.
Right. I wasn't called the Black Wall Street Fund, but I figured it wouldn't get approved by the SEC.
Sure.
So I did code word Tulsa. So I'm like, oh man, they about to Garvey me. Like,
The recurring pattern among these dudes, they all got like the savior complex. They all regard themselves in a higher light than they really are. Dude,
Nah, that's the grift. That's the grift. He don't regard himself no kind of way. You got to touch that part of a nigga's soul. I'm telling you, it's something that's been bred in us that you can't keep me. All my life I had to fight. That's what niggas want to do. They want to say that. That's what they want to do. All my life I've had to fight. That's the whole. If you can string that cord, you can make yourself a multi-millionaire. Even the white pastors know how to string that cord. I'm telling you, it's a particular little thing that you do that and you play some. Oh Lordy, Lordy, Lord. He's singing the old Negro spiritual.
is putting himself in the same light as Marcus Garvey.